Time for another edition of the Daily Racing Form Weekend Preview. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Alexa Zepp. Alexa, we have a lot of business to handle this weekend, and I'm really excited because it is the Lecomte day on Saturday at the fairgrounds and a really big day with undercard races. But the Lecomte is one of the big Kentucky Derby points races. It's a prep race, and it really feels to me like kind of like the unofficial start of the Kentucky Derby prep season, because now we'll get big prep races all over the place. You'll have some at Fairgrounds. You'll have some at Gulfstream, Oaklawn Park, Santa Anita, Aqueduct will be bouncing all around. It's kind of like March Madness in the NCAA tournament. You'll have the local regional tracks, and whoever wins or the top couple from each of those tracks in their prep races will kind of move on, and they'll all meet in the Derby. So it's fun times right now as we get to know a lot of these horses.
It is. It really is like the kickoff. And it's a big race. There's a lot of horses in here. So I think we're just going to dive right into it.
Absolutely. We have a field of 14 lining up, but there are a couple that might not be running, so we'll mention them along the way. Remember, we're going to be looking at these Timeform US past performances, and we'll show you how you can get some of these for free at the end of this segment. Let's start, Alexa, with the number one. It's the coach, D. Wayne Lucas, who is the Hall of Fame trainer, has Innovator, who has big inside speed. Now, he took 7 starts to break his maiden, but if you look at some of the horses who he lost to along the way, you see some really nice horses like Chancellor McPatrick, who's a grade 1 winner, Owen Almighty. You see Barnes, who's one of the more highly regarded 3-year-olds right now for Bob Baffert. So he's probably going to be very fast from the inside.
Yeah, it did take him those 7 starts, and when he did finally break his maiden, or unless Horsey Terms win his first race, it was over the mud going a much shorter distance. So it'll be interesting. This is a big step up in class and distance. Could be worth including at a price, though.
What you're going to hear from us as we go through this field, most of these horses that are young horses, when you've only raced a few times, a lot of the horses are really fast early. And so when you have a big field like this, you're going to have a lot of horses who have only shown speed or who have been involved early on. And so something's got to give in a race like this. I mean, Maximum Promise, the number 2, he won his most recent race. He broke his maiden, winning by 14 lengths, but he did it right on the front end, and he'll probably have to deal with horses like Innovator and even the next one like Magnitude. So there's a lot of speed in here, Alexa.
There is a lot of speed in here. And this one, is coming in for Kenny McPeak and Brian Hernandez, who are last year's Derby and Oaks winning connections, trainer and jockey. So, we can have some confidence that they know what it takes to do well leading into this Derby trail. But yeah, that last race was going a mile. So that added distance after he won by so many lengths and was ridden out, which means you could tell he had more in the tank. I don't think the distance is going to be a problem for him tomorrow.
We can quickly move through Admiral Dennis, the number 3, because he's not going to run. He's going to be scratched out of this one. The connections have already said. There's a great article on DRF.com from Marcus Hirsch if you want to get more information as to horses running or not running in this race, or some more backstory on a lot of the runners. The number 4, Magnitude, was second in the gun runner, but was 6 lengths behind Built, who's way to the outside in here. And then Alexa, another one who just seems like they want to be forwardly placed and close to the lead.
Completely agree. Like everyone we've talked about so far, he's going to want that spot. This is shaping up to have a really heavy pace. And like you said, been improving, but lost to some big ones in here.
Optical is the next one. He feels kind of a cut below. He's going to add the blinkers, and the blinkers, what they do when you put them on for a horse, they give you a little more focus. So they should get, and sometimes a little bit more speed, where you're not looking around, you're not noticing everything that's to the outside of your peripheral. You're just looking at what's ahead. So the equipment change is a positive, but I just don't know if this horse is up to par with a lot of the others in here.
I agree. I'm going to pass on Optical this time. I think he is a talented horse, but we would have to have like a wild improvement for him to make an impact in here.
I don't really have any knocks on Golden Afternoon, the number 6, and what he's done as a horse, but it's all been on the grass. So this is not an easy spot to try the dirt for the first time, right?
Yeah. Like you said, 3 solid races on the dirt for those on the grass. Sorry. But for those who aren't super familiar with racing, there's really four main designations when it comes to surface and distances. You have turf, you have dirt, and then you have sprints, and you have routes. So, routes are a mile or longer, sprints are shorter than a mile. So it's very rarely that you're going to have a horse excel on a turf sprint as well as a dirt route. They usually have a specialty distance and surface. So when you're analyzing a horse's past performances, you want to take note of what conditions they've done well in before, and you also want to take note when they're making a change. So like Gino said, this horse is doing really well on the grass. Connections are probably wondering, is this a Derby caliber horse? To know that, you have to know if he can handle the dirt. So that's what they're trying here. If he does like the dirt, this horse could show up and have an impact at 20-1 odds.
And it opens up a bunch of options for them down the line, right? Now they know they can go in a couple more of these prep races over the next few months. I think you and I both like the number 7 in here, because this, to me, Alexa, looks like one of a few horses who we know is going to take back, is going to make one late run, and is going to try to come and mow them all down late.
Yeah, and this one did switch to the dirt 2 back, and it was just what he needed. Made a huge improvement, won that race. Like you said, he can stay out of the drama, chill out, relax, and position himself well. So the pace projection really helps him in here, and Timeform US does predict him to win.
If you watch his race visually that he won back in November, it is one of the most impressive races you will ever see. No joke. He came from way out of it and won that race by 17 lengths. Let's get to Tough Catch, the number 8. He's stretching out from sprint races, so I'm a little concerned that he gets caught up in that pace battle here.
Yeah, Tough Catch is interesting. A horse by Complexity, who actually calling card the 7 is also by Complexity, which is a new sire. These are his first 3-year-olds and had really precocious 2-year-olds. So, the most recent one he had was at Fairgrounds. So it is nice that he's been over this track before. Like you said, every race has been a sprint. And I do think he'll want that early position. So I don't know if he's going to get what he wants tomorrow.
Dapper Moon, the next one, number 9, is a tough read for me, because I've liked him a couple of the races when he faced tougher company, and he wasn't completely overmatched. He finished 4th against Graded Stakes, but he seems like his best races have been a little bit shorter, and maybe another horse, when stretching out, he's probably going to be part of that early pace.
I agree. My comment about those really tough races where he still ran respectably, with the fields, but he did need that class relief to get the win at Fairgrounds. So now they're stepping him back up, and I just think it still might be too difficult of a spot.
Number 10, Mo Better Than Good, is one of the few in here who's a proven closer. Now, this is a step up. He was a New York bred, and so he beat New York breds. This is open company, and he hasn't raced since September. But I could see him being a horse that passes a lot of these horses late, because we at least know that that's what he wants to do, Alexa.
Yeah, he ran that really great race, and I'm wondering if he came out of that race sore or, had any issues for the long break. But Kenny McPeek, again, won the Derby last year, won the Oaks last year, so he's bringing him back after that layoff in this super tough spot. So we can't totally sleep on Mo Better Than Good.
Number 11, Disco Time. Should I start my disco fever? Very, very fast. This horse is going to be one of the top contenders in here, but we're going to talk about this with Disco Time and with Built. A lot of the top contenders have early speed, so he's probably going to be a little bit wide or have to work out a trip.
I agree. He's undefeated in 2 starts, went off the favorite in both races so far. However, of all these early pace contenders, I do think Disco Time has one of the best shots to stick around and win, but I completely agree. Tough competition.
I think of the speed horses, he's probably one of my favorite that I think might be able to sit off a little bit. Jolly Samurai, his races at Remington, are they just a cut below this group?
A cut below.
I think so too. I can't really make too much of a case. But Built, he looks like one of the horses to beat, but the outside draw, he's way towards the outside in post 13, so he'll probably have to sit or go really fast to try to get the lead in here.
I think he'll want to go really fast to try to get the lead. He's super talented, but because of the draw, I am comfortable trying to beat him with some better prices in here.
I think he's a vulnerable favorite. I agree. The 14 Seattle Road, they're not sure if he will run. He's a stone cold closer. If he does, they're going to want to take back and make that one late run. Let's take a look at selections. Alexa, how are you going to end up here in the Lecomte?
I'm putting calling card on top just like you, Gino.
Yep, we're both putting the 7 right on top. 7, 10, 13, 3 for me. You see Alexa's selections right there. Before we get set for our first commercial break, Alexa, tell the folks out there how they can get a free set of past performances.
Yep, just scan the QR code on your screen to get a free all access card.
We'll be right back after this commercial break with the Fairgrounds Pick 5.